The AAFT Online Diploma in Psychology has a total fee of 1,50,000 rupees. They will offer you a scholarship for say up to 50,000. What remains is 1 lakh, structured as a 15,000 rupee registration fee upfront and 85,000 in 12 monthly installments of roughly 7,000 each. The brochure lists instructors with visible pride. You will find a nutrition scientist, a healthcare management specialist, and a string of ICF certified leadership and executive coaches. Accomplished people in their own domains. Not one of them is a psychologist. A program charging this much to train aspiring psychologists does not have a single practicing clinical or counseling psychologist in its core faculty. The program runs 43 modules across 4 trimesters. Trimester 1 covers what a BA psychology program in any recognized university would spend 3 years on. Introduction to Psychology, Biological Basis of Behavior, Sensation and Perception, Learning and Conditioning, Memory and Cognition, Motivation and Emotion, Personality Theories, Psychological Disorders, Social Psychology, Developmental Psychology, Health Psychology, and Research Methods. 12 modules, 1 trimester, 3 months. Any psychologist listening to this will already feel the problem in their chest. Then comes trimester 2. Here, the syllabus does something that will strike any trained psychologist as structurally incoherent. Cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most evidence-based and technically demanding clinical interventions in the world, is only a single module. Therapists trained in CBT go through supervised practice over years. They record sessions. They receive feedback on their cognitive conceptualizations. They sit with a supervisor and examine why their intervention did not work and what their own counter-transference contributed to that failure. None of that can happen in 10 topics, right? So what this module teaches is the idea of CBT, which is not the same as CBT. Well, clinical psychology is also one module in this trimester. One module covering diagnosing and treating mental disorders, the therapeutic relationship, cognitive behavioral techniques in clinical practice, group therapy, psychopharmacology, clinical assessments, and ethical issues. This is not a module. This is a field. Neuropsychology is one module. Psychopharmacology is one module. Psychological assessment and diagnosis is one module covering the Rorschach, TAT, MMPI, WAIS, WISC, DSM-5, ICD-10, and differential diagnosis together. In actual training, psychological assessment is a year-long course followed by supervised administration under a licensed psychologist. It is because misreading an assessment has consequences for a real person sitting across from you. Teaching test names is not the same as teaching assessment. What the syllabus also reveals when you step back is its own internal confusion about what it is trying to produce. Trimester 3 moves into sports psychology, environmental psychology, media psychology, consumer psychology, behavioral economics, and psychology of aging, like geriatrics, right? Sitting alongside psychological first aid and psychology of addiction. There is no clinical hierarchy here. A curriculum designed by psychologists for psychological training would never place consumer psychology and psychological assessment in the same trimester without a clear scaffolding of why and for whom. This curriculum places them together because breadth looks impressive in a brochure. It does not look impressive to anyone who has actually studied in this field. Private universities and online platforms designing psychology programs in India are operating in a regulatory gray zone. The becoming of a psychologist cannot be treated as a content packaging problem, right? It is a public health responsibility that a public health administrative person can never solve. So, AAFT does carry UGC recognition, and the brochure will not let you forget it. What the brochure will not tell you is that UGC recognition does not extend to diplomas. A diploma from a media arts institution, regardless of what body co-badges it, does not make you eligible for RCI registration, which requires the MPhil or the MA clinical psychology pathway. It does not make you eligible for NCAHP registration either, because that body now mandates in-person training. An online diploma sits outside both frameworks entirely. You will spend a lakh completing a program that the two most relevant regulatory bodies in Indian psychology do not recognize as qualifying. Then there is the live coaching possibility for sure in this program, quietly enabling through, its coaching and wellness modules. Here is what no one in the industry will say plainly. There is no degree for life coaching. A life coach draws people through the weight of their own lived experience and the credibility they have built through it. You do not manufacture that in 12 months. You certainly do not manufacture it through modules taught by NLP practitioners and HR consultants. So, if you are a student considering this program or any similar diploma or certificate offering from a private university in psychology, please reach out to me before you pay a single rupee. One conversation can reorient your entire path. And if you are a private university or an online platform currently designing or reviewing a psychology program and you want it to hold up academically, ethically, and regulatorily, my consultation is available. Psychology is not a content vertical. The people who will eventually sit across from your graduates deserve to know that someone, somewhere in the making of that curriculum, actually understood what they were building. The becoming of a psychologist is not something we can afford to take for granted.